Do you have some things that just set you off?
Are there hidden emotions or stories that you've stored deep down that may be secretly controlling your life?
We wanted to know the answer, so we asked the universe.
Welcome to this episode of What's the Universe Say About That?
I'm Mary Obana, and along with my husband Michael, we asked the universe for answers. You see, I'm blessed with this beautiful gift where I get quiet and I can connect with the loving guidance of the universe.
So today, you'll see and hear Mary connect directly to that divine guidance and hear the words of wisdom flow directly through her in response to questions about life and the challenges we all face at certain times.
So welcome to our home.
And welcome to this now normal, but always amazing part of our daily lives. So sit back, get ready, and let's hear what the universe has to say about that.
Let's do it.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
This is our first part 2 episode we've ever done. If you saw the last episode, we talked about how to manage or think about, I guess thinking is the problem, but think about a busy mind and what you can do to calm a busy mind. And one of the points that came out was that thoughts are of the mind, but feelings and emotions are energy that's stored in the body. And how do you clear that stuff out? How do you manage that stuff? So I thought that's what we talk about. Follow up. You know, this was the first time I ever asked a question, and the universe said,
Let's cover that separately.
"Yeah, exactly." So
Too big of
I
a
have a feeling
concept.
it's a big enough question on its own.
Yeah.
So specifically, how do we manage hidden, unknown, unseen feelings and emotions that are storing that energy, maybe blocking you or holding you back or frustrating you? How do we manage and maybe clear that stuff out of our body? How do we think about it?
Okay,
All
great.
right.
Well,
So
we don't know the answer,
I'd
so
like to, yeah, I need help on this one. So,
let's ask the universe. All right,
great.
that's fabulous. Here we go. It is good to be back. And we are delighted to answer this question and glad that we have devoted time to address such a question. Yes, it is true that the thoughts that you hold in your mind create stories that generate emotion, feelings. And while the thoughts can be released more easily, the emotions and the energy stored within the body are harder to let go. This is why when something happens, you can feel a very strong, innate reaction to it. When you are reacting to something so strongly, some people call it being triggered. That is a function and a telltale sign that there are emotions that are stored deep within you. To live a life of ultimate peace, one must become aware of those things that trigger a response. If you look at your life objectively and your experiences objectively, and even more, the reactions you have to certain circumstances. Perhaps it's something someone says that makes you feel a certain way. Things like feelings of unworthiness, a lack of importance, loneliness, fear. Some of these things that are a function of the circumstances you have faced and the mind's clever way of making sense of that circumstance. You see, we, you, humans, create stories to make sense of that which you have been met with. And those stories are the things that generate the feeling, the emotion. Those are the things that are stored. The body has a great memory. So, to live a life without those unwanted feelings, the feelings that the mind can tell you you have let go of, but yet the feelings that seem to continue to resurface in just the right circumstance. The life of peace that is available to every human being requires, amongst the other things, but most notably in this discussion, it requires an understanding of that which is buried within you. Because once you understand, see, observe, acknowledge that which you have within you, the work then begins to release it. You see, the mind is beautiful, as we discussed before. It helps you make sense of things. But sometimes the things that have been made sense of, the storyline that has enabled you to understand what is happening, is not always based in truth. That storyline that has been created is often not true. And so while at some point, perhaps at a young age, you experienced a circumstance and you were able to make sense of it through some thoughts that created the feelings. And then, as the mind does, it reconnects things, recognizes things. This is how those emotions get more deeply entrenched within you. You recognize or associate patterns, and you then turn what is one explanation for one circumstance into what you believe is a truth about you. It is this truth that you have created, this truth, we say, what you think is true, that creates that feeling. And soon, you don't even need the mind to make the connections. Soon, the body reacts completely on its own. To come to terms, to release the feelings that come when those buttons are pushed. It is easy for the mind to immediately point the finger on the one who made you feel this way. Blame, disappointment. This person hurt me. This person doesn't love me. This person must think poorly of me. Again, the mind trying to make sense in that instance of what is happening. But those deep-seated initial emotions were created often by a very young mind. However, as you age, those emotions remain true, even though they make no sense truly to the circumstance that is, and to the life that you have, and to the person you are.
Hmm.
But yet, the reaction from the body, the emotions that are deeply seated within you emerge. So, the truth is, the feelings you often have, those unwanted feelings of hurt and disappointment that you feel as an adult, that you react so quickly to, are often a function of the meaning you have associated with that situation, the meaning you have assigned to that situation, the meaning that has been informed by the pain and hurt that is stored deep within you. And so, why is this important to understand? Because the relationships in your life, the way you feel about yourself, the way you feel about others, you are best served to engage in those relationships and feel for yourself that which is true, not that which has been created by the narrative you have become so deeply connected with. You do not need to have this pain, to carry this pain. But it must begin with an understanding, an acknowledgement. It must begin with an awareness, a consciousness of what is being experienced. So just as we discussed before about the importance of having that objectivity, you are not your mind being able to see what it is that is happening based on what it is you are feeling. The same is true with the emotions that are stirred up, the patterns that you see repeating again and again and again. For you to live without that pain, it is not enough to think it away. You must find a way to feel it away. When you are able to find and feel the emotion of not having that triggered reaction, that raw emotion, when you can feel what it feels like to live without it, your body starts to understand a new. The neural pathways that are discussed often run through your entire body. It is not just the mind that creates these pathways. The body has its own pathways. The pain that is stored within the body must be acknowledged, understood, and only then can they be addressed. There are many methods for this releasing of this emotion that is stored deep within you. There are many ways. It all depends upon the individual and what works for them, but it all begins with an understanding that it is so. We ask that when you react so innately, so strongly, emotionally to something, and that feeling that you feel is something that you have felt many times before, let this be a message to you that it is something to be understood. Because it can be. And the peace that you seek and the one that is available to each and every one of you must start with the truth of the emotion that is stored within you.
That's incredibly powerful, profound, and specific, especially for me, that what you just described is exactly the process that I've gone through. Um, it's really, really hard because these things are so innate. These reactions are so hardwired into your body. It feels like it's you. And there's tremendous resistance to get in there and start unplugging things. Um, how you said you can't think it away. How do you overcome that resistance of your body wants to fall back into the habit that it's known its whole life or many, many years?
This is where the mind is helpful, you see.
Mm.
When you are able, through this objectivity and consciousness, to recognize this that is within you, that which is felt, that which is unwanted. Start with understanding that it was something that came originally to help you, to make sense of something. But that thought, that explanation, that story was just a story. When you come to understand that the feelings that are most painful for you, that feeling that you feel and have felt throughout your life again and again. When you think for a moment, wait, that may not be true. That person that I care for so deeply, wait, they may not feel the way I think they are feeling toward me. What I'm experiencing may not be anything but an illusion. Once you open the door to this possibility, it actually becomes less painful because you begin to disassociate the feeling and come to an understanding. That little opening that opens a door to the possibility that, wait a second, I've just attached a story because I feel some way, let's say unworthy, unloved, unimportant, unwanted, whatever that feeling is. If you consider for a moment that, wait a second, this person loves me. This person doesn't think I'm unworthy. This person doesn't think I don't matter. This person doesn't think I'm not important. This person doesn't think I have no value. Wait, what? You see, this enables you to look at that more objectively, and this is good news. So while it is painful to go toward and open the door to those feelings that seem to recur, once you consider that those feelings you have are not a reflection of what is actually true, that's good news. Because those feelings you have that make you feel so bad, they're never because of good thoughts. They're always because of negative ones. Once you understand or consider that those negative thoughts that you have associated, attached to a circumstance, a situation, a person's feeling toward you may not be true, this is good news. So the idea of opening the door to that pain you have buried so deeply, you don't even know it's something that exists. You don't even know the feelings you have are associated with something. You don't even make that connection. You simply associate what is happening in that moment with the other as being a reflection of something that, when you look closely, has been something you have felt before. It is painful to go to those feelings. But the beautiful thing about this process is that you are going to those feelings to understand them because you don't want to live with them anymore. It is the beginning of the healing, the beginning of the peace.
Amen. Thank you.
You see, each of you, each and every one of you, has peace available to you. You do not need to live with feelings of anything unwanted. Again, it does not mean you don't have moments of pain and anger and anguish. It means that you are dealing and engaging with the moment in front of you for the moment that it is, not the moment that has been informed by a whole slew of past stories that are then defining the experience of the moment that is. Moments happen, circumstances happen, unwanted things happen, but being able to see them for the truth that they are, for what they are, and not attaching untrue things to them makes all the difference in the world, because you are able to move from one moment to the next without carrying with you the story that has burdened your life.
Thank you.
We hope this has been helpful.
Very much so.
Thank
Yep.
you.
That one kind of spoke directly to the experience that I've gone through.
Hmm.
So true. One thing that add a finer point to the message, you hear, especially nowadays in the news, everyone's talking about truth.
Mm-hmm.
That message, there was messages of truth there, what's true.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I learned in this process that I've gone through of opening the door is the first kind of decision that your mind wants to make is, well, what happened in the past, was it true or not?
Mm.
And part of this idea of separating yourself from these unwanted feelings and thoughts and things, the truth, this is not my experience, but I just want to explain this, is, let's just say you had a bad uh situation. I don't want to pick a specific situation, but let's just say you had a bad situation growing up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's triggered you the rest of your life,
Mm-hmm.
or it's been buried
Yep.
deep within you the rest of your life. The When you start to open that door, one of the first questions or things you go through is, well, did it happen or not?
Mm.
And if it happened, let's just say the facts, the circumstance, the moment actually did happen,
Mm-hmm.
then it kind of justifies, well, that's why I had that story and that's why I have those
Sure.
feelings. But when the universe is talking about truth, it's going even beyond that. It's the circumstance may have happened. Let's just say you thought someone didn't love you because of the way they acted.
Mm-hmm.
They may not have loved you in a way that you thought they should, but that didn't mean that love was not there.
Mm.
And so the truth, I mean, they could be a very flawed
Mm-hmm.
individual themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and
We all are.
we all are.
Yeah.
So it goes kind of, that truth goes deeper than just the
Oh, I
circumstance.
see what you're saying. I
Yeah,
see what you're saying.
I'm not
You,
explaining it
I
really
see. I
well.
think what if I understand you, I think what you're saying is that when you go to that, let's say, circumstance, you actually see it slightly differently because you're able to more objectively
Yeah,
understand, let's say,
or accept, open the possibility
yeah,
of it.
yeah, right. I see what you're saying. Yeah. So that whole original experience takes on a little bit of a different
Yeah,
thing because you suddenly say, wait, I thought that was because she didn't love me or she whatever, but in fact, maybe that was just not love in the way that I would have liked to have received it, but that didn't mean she didn't love me. And that alone
Yeah.
makes you think about the relationship or the situation or
Well,
whatever
like,
more
there was a
differently.
whole part of that message, which was
S
consider the possibility
Yeah.
of something, else
Yeah, right.
that you would never consider. So
Right.
even though the circumstance may
It happened.
it
Yeah,
happened,
yeah.
and you can't talk yourself out of, like,
Sure.
that thing didn't happen.
Yeah, that's okay, I see what
It
you're
may
saying,
have
yeah.
happened.
But your adult lens can actually
Get past that
yeah, and
and
look at it
say
more
that,
that's
okay,
interesting.
even though it may have happened, um, there are things possibly that I couldn't see, I couldn't understand, and
At that time.
at that time,
Mhm.
and then you just kind of buried that stuff. So,
Hmm,
yeah, for that's what I found. It was more than
I see.
just did it did bad things happen or not.
Yeah,
It's like even if they did, so much of the messaging we get is there's so much we can't see
yeah,
and
yeah.
understand
Mm,
and the purpose of it, and there's value in everything.
mhm,
As painful as some of the stuff is, there's value in it. And that may have been the real meaning behind it all.
that's
So,
very insightful. Yeah, very
well,
interesting.
good for me.
Yay, you.
um, I'm not the one that's supposed to be insightful here. It's coming from there, but
Wow.
it's just more my experience. This one was definitely, I can speak of a customer one of this. What came out of that is exactly true.
Mm,
Opening that door is the first step, and it just naturally
mm,
evolves from there.
mm.
So tough stuff, but really, really valuable. Yeah.
Alright.
So that
Wonderful.
was like that was like a therapy session or something,
They
counseling.
often are.
So anyway, that's it. So that was part two. We'll go back to our regular scheduled programming next week. We got
Have a great
yeah, we
week.
got lots of good stuff. So good to see you.
Take it easy.